We ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Rock and roll. This my camera?
That's your camera.
Right here?
Let's go.
All right. All right. This week, Donald Trump announced that he is putting forth progress to ban large-scale institutions like Blackstone and BlackRock from buying American houses. What does this mean for you and your family? And what does this mean for the future of real estate? I'm here with my partner, Bill Gaylord, longtime mortgage broker, to discuss exactly that. Stay tuned. We're going to keep this to 25 minutes and tell you guys everything you need to know about what's happening in real estate in America. All right? Bill, welcome back.
Brandon, love to be here, as always.
Every so often, Trump drops us a gift, right? Where today, my topic was about debt and how Americans are racking up crazy amounts of debt to the point that they can't afford anything. Well, when a bombshell drops in the morning, I have to wake up and redo the entire podcast because this is huge news,
Yes.
right? So let's just cut through the nitty gritty and discuss exactly what just happened, okay? President Trump publicly declared that his administration is taking immediate steps to ban large institutional investors from buying single-family homes in the U.S. Now, what constitutes as a large-scale institutional investor has not been declared. They haven't said if it's 1,000 houses, if it's 5,000 houses. None of that's been declared. It's just been pushed forward. But people on Wall Street are taking this seriously enough that Blackstone's stock price has taken a significant dip, right? He has also said he will ask Congress to codify the ban into law while phrasing it as an executive action. But no detailed rule or legal mechanism has been released yet. They plan to discuss more during the World Economic Forum in Davos later this month. That comes straight from Investopedia and Reuters. All right, so we try to use more reliable sources. We're not using CNBC or Fox News or something like that, okay? The key quote in his messaging was, "People live in homes, not in corporations." And that's something big that we like to talk about here. So let's just start there. Bill, what do you think this means? Or what, more importantly, what do you think the American people think this means?
Well, I think what it means is they will not have to compete against the big corporations to buy a house. I think that there will be more homes available. What I don't know is, did they say that the big BlackRocks and the Blackstones have to sell the homes that they have now? Do they get to keep those in their portfolio? Which that to me makes more sense. It would be hard to divest all that quickly. But is it just on a go-forward basis? I don't know if you know that or not, or
They
if
haven't
there was
put
any
that
statement.
They haven't put that forward yet of what they're going to do with the homes currently in possession of these groups. Now, in magical fairy, or in the most optimistic world, in the world that is both chaotic and beautiful for real estate, he forces them to relinquish all and sell all of their properties, which would create a housing market so insane, I don't even know how to describe it. But can you imagine, Bill, if in this current buyer's market where we already have so many homes and so few buyers, can you imagine if, like, let's just say 100,000 homes more hit the market? Oh my God, it would be every buyer would have access to cheaper housing overnight. Or it would create a feeding frenzy, but either way, we would see some traction.
And I would think that would be a very hard one to get through Congress, to say you got to sell what you have right now.
Yeah.
But on a go-forward basis, if it is, those types of investors are probably make up what? The big ones are probably about 3% of the market.
We're going to get to that actually because we want to surprise people with these numbers. But we actually had a good question in our live chat on Instagram.
Yeah.
Lisa370Z from San Diego says, "Can you explain why these investors are so bad?" We would love to. A lot of people hate BlackRock and Blackstone, but they don't know why they hate them. Make sure we clip this, Robert. A lot of people hate BlackRock and Blackstone, but they don't know why big investments are bad. And it's quite simple. Bill, the three most times houses are sold and bought are marriage, kids, divorce, right? You get married, you need a bigger house because your wife doesn't want the apartment anymore. You have kids, you need a bigger house, you have to sell the previous house, buy a bigger house. You get divorced or someone dies and you need to sell the house. You need to downsize, right? That's why a lot of realtors are connected to divorce lawyers, weddings, things like that, because that's our indication that you need to purchase a home. The billionaire investment company is never going to die. It's never going to get divorced. It's never going to have a child. It's going to buy a home. It's going to rent that home out, and it's going to keep that home in perpetuity.
Forever.
Right? Every time a BlackRock or a Blackstone buys a home, that home is now off the market, right? So think about it like, okay, let's go back to the Vegas nightclub, right? Imagine you were in a nightclub and half the women were married. Okay, your options for talking to a girl significantly went down, right? They're already permanently off the market, right? Now imagine, and this is a great metaphor, imagine they keep adding 100 new guys to that nightclub, but they don't add any more single women, right? You would reach a point where we have way too many buyers and nothing to buy, right? This is metaphors, guys, please. We're not talking about buying women. It's a metaphor, it's an analogy, okay? Well, this is the current problem in America, where we currently harbor 25% of the world's, now 20 to 25% of the world's immigration, but BlackRock and Blackstone keep taking houses off the market. So we have more people coming to look for the American dream, and we have fewer houses to provide it to them, right? That's the problem with large-scale investments. It breaks the traditional rules of real estate.
Yeah, and if they ban it, if they basically remove that buyer of single-family homes, there will be more homes on the market to potentially purchase. We know for a fact that the biggest issue is supply and demand, right? So this will bring back some of the supply, if you will, of homes, and the normal buyer can go out, normal family can go out and buy it. But I don't think it really gets to the real core of everything. And part of me says it's they need to build more homes because we have more people.
Yes.
And there's so many problems with trying to build a home from a development standpoint that they need to ease some things up on getting developments approved and ready to go.
Well, there's that, and there's the huge, gaping, open, gigantic flaw that nobody wants to talk about. Nobody's moving to America to live in Missouri, right? Nobody's waiting a year or 2 years to get an American visa so they can go live in North Dakota or Iowa, right?
Yeah.
So people think that America is this gigantic land where there's just endless room for houses, but it's like, no, you all want to live in a major city where there's tons of work, tons of attractive single people that you can meet and date, and great food and great job opportunities, which means people are going to keep moving to Los Angeles, Seattle, Las Vegas, Chicago, Miami, New York, Texas, right? They're going to keep moving to the same cities. Well, the people that are living here want those opportunities, and the people who are coming here want those opportunities, which is why our cities are wildly overcrowded. But that's why the housing market in those cities are also so insane, right? Because people think, oh, well, Brandon, why don't we just build more houses in, Wyoming? Well, do you want to live in Wyoming? I know that,
I played baseball in Wyoming.
Right?
It's cold.
And this is not,
I don't want to be there.
yeah, this is not to knock Wyoming.
I love Wyoming.
I don't think anybody in, another country is saving up money, waiting for a visa so they can move to Jackson, Wyoming, or Des Moines, Iowa. That's not their dream. Their dream is to see what they see on television. I want to live by the beach. I want to live where there's tons of jobs and tons of hot young girls, and I want to be able to succeed and have my dream. And the point is, there's just not enough. There's not as much space as people think there is. Right now, I want to hit something that you were bringing up. Bill, tell the people, they think BlackRock and Blackstone own like half the market. Can you tell them what percentage Blackstone and large institutions currently own?
Yeah, I think it is around 3%.
It's 2 to 3%. And this is the big truth that all of you need to hear. They have built up Blackstone and BlackRock as the great boogeymen of America, and in certain situations they are. They own so much of our media. They own so much of our information, our intelligence, our discussion. They own so many of our food banks, our restaurants, that they can really control the market with big money. But what they don't control is the real estate market. 30% of the real estate market is owned by what we consider mom and pop investors, right? The retired couple who owns 3 or 5 real estate or investment homes that pay for their vacations or pay for their RVing. The Airbnb mogul who owns 35 Airbnbs that he rents out, right? That is actually the largest investor. Yeah. And in a certain way, like we saw during COVID, right? The most common house purchase during that time was a second home. Your generation, Boomer Bill, had built up so much housing equity that they were like, hey, I might as well turn this
buy another house
into another house, right? And on top of that, and it's what we're going to finish with, is FIRPTA, Foreign International's ability to buy a home, right? So the total breakdown, and you guys really need to know this, the total breakdown of real estate in America is 65% of homes are owner occupied, which means the person lives in the home. 30% are these mom and pop investors. And then the last 5% are foreign internationals and large scale institutions, right? And so I don't want to get your guys' hopes up and tell you that, oh, by banning large scale institutions, it's going to fix everything, because it's not, right? It's not going to fix everything. But it's a start.
It is a start. And I think that certain markets will benefit more than other markets.
Yeah.
I know that Las Vegas, there has been probably a little bit more of that big BlackRock, Blackstone buying in Vegas than they are in Wyoming or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So there may be some benefit to that more in Las Vegas than some other markets.
Yeah. Well, Las Vegas has always been a transient market up until the last 5 years, where people have started to, see Vegas for what it is, see Henderson, see Centennial Hills, look at Sky Canyon, Summerlin, obviously, right? And see it as a long-term solution for them and their family, right? And that's why there's such a big clash in Las Vegas, because Las Vegas is one of the most investor-owned markets in America. At one point, we were like 35% investor-owned. Mm-hmm. And so there's this huge clash where investors, why would they want to sell their houses right now when rental prices are at an all-time high? But you have this clamoring of people who want to live here full-time. And then when you add that on top of the pay in Las Vegas doesn't match what the rents have been driven up to, right? It's the reason Las Vegas is at such like a weird housing market right now. It's just the clash between institutional investors, mom and pop investors, a massive new population. It's just all happening at one time.
Well, and I imagine that a lot of these corporate investors looked at the market back when the interest rates were 2-3%, and the appreciation in these homes were going up 10, 12, 15%. And they're going, okay, boy, look at this real estate market. Yeah. It's going up. Let's move our money from this investment over to the real estate.
Yeah.
And they moved it over there. Now we're seeing, the values are starting to level out.
Yeah.
Primarily because interest rates are a little bit higher.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how much if it's going to be as big of an investment from the corporations on a go forward basis as it was in the past, just because they saw opportunity with the interest rates being low, and that's why they went into the market.
Yeah, 100%. So Bill, what is defined as a mom and pop investor? We use that pretty colloquially to throw it out there, but for our audience who looks for more specifics, a mom and pop investor is someone who owns between 1 and 10 properties. They're often local. They often put everything under one LLC. They're often houses they bought years ago. So for instance, the family who's lived in California since the 60s and 70s and started buying up properties there when it was still cheap and affordable, right? If you own 10 properties in the Orange County or LA area, why would you ever sell those, right? It's where the mom and pop investor becomes the institutional investor. If you bought a house in LA or Orange County for $150,000, if you bought something in Riverside or Irvine, Our podcast director, Robert, he was telling us about, Robert, how much were you renting a house in Irvine for?
Oh, this is Burbank, California.
Burbank.
$3,500.
So
2010.
So in 2010, he was renting this house for $3,500. Okay, the mortgage on that house was probably paid off. Why would you ever sell a property that's netting you, 40 grand a year, 42 grand a year? Why would you ever, right? That's not something you would sell.
Yeah.
If I had a stock like Nvidia, right? Nvidia can't stop making me money. I'm never going to sell Nvidia. Why would I ever do that, right?
Yeah.
I'm never going to release my shares back to the market, right? Well, unfortunately, real estate isn't stock market. They can create more shares. They can manipulate the shares. I can't build more houses in Burbank or Irvine, right? We're pretty limited into where we can go, right? So it creates a situation where mom and pop investors are incentivized to not sell. Well, that creates the same problem we discussed earlier. The real estate market is dependent on this cycle, and everybody needs to hear this, okay? Because if you want to fight back against big institutions, the answer is pretty simple, and here it goes. The real estate market is dependent on two people, doesn't matter, guy, girl, doesn't matter what mix, getting married, okay? Having a kid, getting a bigger house, and then eventually selling that house once the kid leaves or whatever. That's the real estate cycle. Ask yourself this, Bill. When you were growing up, was being a real estate investor like a big-time job?
No.
How many real estate investors did you know?
There were not
Right.
very many.
Because people didn't need to rent like that, right? Renting a house wasn't that big of a thing when you could just buy a house.
Right.
Right? But as we've inflated the amount of people in America, and then as people have stopped getting married and stayed single into their 30s, in your generation, people would get married at what age?
The 20s.
20s, okay? So by the time they were 25, you didn't need two apartments or two rentals because they were in a house together or they were in a unit together, right? Well, if people aren't going to get married until their 30s, that means both of those people need a rental for 10 to 12 years. Okay, well, now you've increased the need for landlords.
Yeah.
Do you see?
Well, I go back to the building, right? The supply and demand issue, and particularly the single family.
Mm-hmm.
You've got household formations, which is, you're out on your own. You've got a new household, whether it's one or two people. Though that household formation is about 1.8 million per year.
Mm-hmm.
The number of homes that they're building right now is about 1.2 million per year.
Yeah.
There's a $600,000 gap between household formation and actual housing built.
Mm-hmm.
Now, back in 2008 during the Great Recession, which is when I was, you weren't there yet. You were probably still in high school. I don't know. But in 2008, they basically stopped making homes for about 10 years. They built homes at about 50% of what they needed to because they couldn't sell a new home for less than it cost an existing home to buy.
Yeah.
And so they stopped building homes. So it created this huge housing shortage. And there's estimates that it's upwards of 5 million houses short to meet the population that we have right now.
Yeah.
So the investor, if they stop the investor, it's a fraction, in my opinion, of what's really going to help. And I think they need to build more homes and make it easier for the builders to build more homes. That's my opinion.
I ask people this all the time, and it's rare that Bill and I disagree. It's very rare, but every so often we come across a topic where where are they going to build these houses? Las Vegas is going to run out of land by 2032. Where are they going to build these houses? Pahrump?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Pahrum's 40 minutes away.
I know.
There's other federal land and Vegas has the biggest amount or the largest amount of acreage that surrounds the Las Vegas community that they could release to people or to developers to build. So there is land that they could build on.
I know people who say there's not enough space in Vegas. I need more land. Okay, I got a half acre or a full acre in Pahrump for $400,000. Cheap. You want it? Oh, no, 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 no.
It's going
Right?
to go there. It's going there right now. I see it in Las Vegas
can- I
pitch.
can-
We see these and some of the land is like 30,000, 50,000,
And they still don't want it.
and they don't want it.
And they don't want it.
Yeah.
So we can build 5 million houses in Pahrump. We can build it all across the middle of America. Do people want to live there? Do people want to live there? We don't see people from LA and coastal cities moving to Nebraska. It's the opposite, right? We don't see people from the edges of of America. We don't see people from the coast moving inward. We see people from the inward moving outward. So no matter how many houses we build in the middle of the country where all this land exists, I'm not sure we can get people to go there.
No, I'm not saying that it's all in the middle, but I think there's going to have to be some building on the outskirts. I
People
mean,
are
there's land that sometimes takes 2 to 3 years before they actually can get passed through all the requirements, all the guidelines, all the, the public hearings, all that stuff to either get it to go or not get it to go. And I think that needs to be shortened tremendously because in those cities, but people are going to go where the work is. And if Pahrump becomes a little bit more active in terms of buying, then guess what? Some of the employers may start going a little bit closer to Pahrump.
I think we have more of a job issue than a housing issue, honestly. And if I was to give my truly honest opinion on this BlackRock situation, this Blackstone situation, I think the exporting of jobs by big institutions to, other countries like the Philippines and Russia and whatever, I think that's a bigger hit to the housing market than them owning the homes, right? It's them taking jobs and putting them elsewhere that prevents people from having the money to buy a home, right? Them owning the home is like, when you have a bad disease and it's like, yeah, my nose is running, but I'm worried about my lungs being inflamed, right? I think institutions owning homes is a runny nose. I think them removing jobs from here, like for instance, if Pahrump had a booming job market, then yeah, build houses out there. But if you're going to move to Pahrump, what do you like, right? What jobs are you gonna work out there? So the final segment, Bill, is if average person owns 65% of houses, right? And then 30% goes to mom and pop investors and only like 1 to 2% goes to big institutions. Where's the last percentage? And it's the percentage that not even Donald Trump wants to talk about. In fact, I bring this up in my class daily. No politician wants to talk about FIRPTA, foreign ownership of American houses. Not a single politician, Democrat or Republican, nobody wants to talk about the fact that foreign internationals own a larger percentage of homes than Blackstone or BlackRock, and yet we villainize those companies to death as we should. I'm not defending these companies, but why does no one want to talk about the foreign international investment, right? For those of you who are unaware, right, Bill, can you explain to them a little bit about how FIRPTA works?
In terms of buying?
In terms of buying, and then what happens when they sell?
So I don't know all the guidelines on those. I know from a mortgage standpoint, there are certain things that they have to meet in terms of the requirements, down payment requirements. We do look at some citizenship, and then it's pretty much down payment and they can buy.
They can buy. And the most important thing about FIRPTA that you guys need to know, and why no U.S. official or no one in the U.S. government wants to ever talk about banning this, it's because when a foreign international sells their property, they must pay 15% of the sales price to the U.S. government. 15% goes to the U.S. government. Why would they ever want to cut off their financial pipeline, right? So they use BlackRock and Blackstone as the big villain and push that in the front, right? But they're very hush-hush quiet about the back end, right? And ultimately, This is what American citizens need to understand. It is a institutional problem. You know, they talk about one of the big words in like the woke community is like institutional racism, right? Where it's like embedded into the core of America. Well, right now, making sure that your homes are not affordable is embedded into the core of like the US government, right? Keeping people in situations where they can't afford homes is quite literally embedded into like the foundation of how America works nowadays. Like I'm I'm not smarter than the people who work for the government. They understand that people staying single until their 30s is the biggest problem in real estate, right? A single person can't afford a home right now. It's almost
You
impossible.
need a dual income for the most.
Do you see the government making big strides to make sure that, you know, American citizens are getting married at a younger age? No. No, of course not. Why? Keeping people single and in debt is way more valuable. It's far more valuable, right? Where we've created a situation, Bill, and I know people don't like to hear this, so I guess I have to play bad cop. I ask people in my lives all the time, okay, you may hate your landlord. You may think landlords are scum. Where would you live if it's not for your landlord? If they didn't buy that house and let you live inside of it, where would you live? Where would you live? If corporations, you may hate big corporations, who do you think owns your apartment complex? Right? You want to stay single to your 30s. Okay, someone has to provide housing for you because you can't do it by yourself. So you can't hate the people who provide the things that you need.
So I'm gonna kind of roll it back because I'm gonna be the good cop.
Okay.
Okay. My opinion right now on the marketplace is that we're seeing values still go up, but they are only going up between 1% and 2% right now. And the reason is the interest rates are still a little bit higher than they were back in the day. So interest rates can definitely have an impact on appreciation. So I don't want personally the rates to drop like a rock. I think it'd be helpful for many people that bought in the last few years to save a little bit of money. I think that it could help people afford a home a little bit. But I do believe that this is a great opportunity for people to potentially buy right now because they're not going up. There's more inventory on the market. And if they want to lock in a mortgage payment that's not going to change much, I think it's a good time to buy, in my opinion.
You know,
I believe that.
We agree. We've talked about this being the best buyer's market in
awesome.
years.
Yeah.
I think for the past 13 months, it's been an insane buyer's market. You can get anything you want at such a massive, massive discount.
When was the last time you didn't negotiate closing costs for people? I can't remember.
It's been over a year that I didn't get closing cost or some massive price reduction on a home. It's been over 12 months. It's been probably 15, 16 months since I didn't get a great deal on a home. Bill, every so often I like to drop a prediction, right?
I love predictions. You're good at it.
I hate being the negative Nelly. I hate it, but I'm telling you right now what's going to happen.
Okay, let's hear it.
You know that 65% ownership number? That's not going to change. In fact, that might go down. The number that's going to skyrocket with this going, if this goes into a law, the number that's going to skyrocket is that 30% mom and pop investor. That's what's going to happen. The people who don't own a home aren't going to use this wisely. They're not. They'll find another boogeyman to blame, and the smart investor who already owns 5, 6, 7 homes, he's just going to be like, okay, fine. I'll be the new institutional investor then, right? I'll be the new BlackRock, right? People who already own homes are going to own more homes because, not to get too preachy, we live in a world where people don't have belief. They need to see it, right? Well, if you already own a home and you already own a rental home and you're making money, you already believe it. You've seen the value of home ownership. Well, if you've been a renter your whole life, you've never seen the value of owning a home. And trying to convince you of that value is so hard. It's like a religion. How do I convince you to believe in this thing that you've never seen, right? So what we're going to have is the people who already believe in home ownership are going to use this as like an excuse to go even harder into the process. And I fear that it's not going to change anything.
So the investors, the mom and pop investors, are going to gobble up
Yeah.
what the BlackRocks and the Blackstones were buying before, and the normal individual, it's not going to help them that much because the
They don't
mom and pop
believe.
are going to go get it.
They don't believe.
They don't believe.
They don't believe. Think about this, Bill. Real estate and stocks are probably the two biggest money makers in the history of America, right? They're also the only institutions that people don't buy when they're on sale. When Tesla's stock price dropped, instead of being like, oh, okay, cool, it's on sale, people are like, oh no, this is the end of Tesla, we're not going to buy. I bought, and now Tesla's made me a bunch of money, right? When the real estate market drops, people go, oh, a crash is coming. I'm like, well, no, this is what a sale looks like.
Yeah.
Real estate and stocks are the biggest money makers in America, but they're also the only two things people don't want when they're on sale. They only want real estate when it's at its most expensive. So if Blackstone and BlackRock are forced to release their houses and these houses go on sale, people aren't going to jump on that. They're not going to be like, oh, wow, houses are on sale, I need to grab them. They're going to be like, oh, no, that just means the housing market's going to crash and we're all, And it's just, I don't know how to, and again, I sound like a negative Nelly. I just don't know how to convince people who don't believe to believe.
Yeah, I mean, you and I both are talking to people trying to buy a home every single day, and the biggest thing is fear.
Perfect example. Juan's Alley says, the ones that rent more likely can't afford to buy a home. Juan, if you don't believe in real estate, you'll never make it a priority. And if you don't make it a priority, you'll never save enough money to buy a home. Do you see the contradiction there, Juan? Do you see the chicken and egg situation? If you don't believe homes are valuable, you won't make it a priority. You'll prioritize your lifestyle. You'll prioritize your car, right? That's why a lot of you have $600, $700, $800, $900,000 car loans because you believe in cars. So you'll spend an outrageous amount on a car. So of course you can't afford a home. You don't think it's valuable, so you don't ever make it the number one priority in your life. This is do you see what I'm talking about, Bill?
Well, I the word that you used, I think really hits home to me, and it's lifestyle. You're willing to have your lifestyle over a home.
Yeah. This change with Blackstone and Trump, it's going to sound good on paper. It's going to win votes because he's attacking. Everybody loves the devil. Everybody loves attacking the devil, right? And we've made Blackstone and BlackRock the easiest targets in the world. It's like
Darth
targeting
Vader.
Elon Musk, right? You say something bad about Elon Musk, everybody in the crowd goes, yay, you're attacking the bad guy we all hate. But at the end of the day, these institutions own 1% to 2% of the market. It's more of a political thing than actually fixing the market. Until people change their lifestyles, until people stop being single into their 30s, the real estate market's not going to correct itself. It can't. As long as we need 2 rental properties for 2 adults, single until 33, you're giving a landlord 12 to 15 years of valuable rent. That's an eternity. That's profit. That's 12 to 15 years of profit. Why would anybody ever give that up? It's the easiest. Renting an apartment, building an apartment complex is the easiest money in the entire world. Why would anybody give that up? The only solution is for people to go back to how it was in the 40s and 50s and 60s. But you and I both know they're not going to do that, right? So to the people watching this, ultimately, this Blackstone thing isn't going to change much. It's great on paper. It looks great. It's great lip service. It'll win Donald Trump and his party a few extra votes, and they look like they're taking a hard stance on like the big rich
beating the
corporation.
big guys.
But at the end of the day, until we have a concerted effort in America to get people to stop renting until their 30s, stop staying single to their 30s, nothing's going to change. We're going to have the same real estate market that we've had for quite some time. People who own apartments and people who own rentals are going to keep making all the money and all the equity, and the gap between rich people and poor people is just going to keep widening and widening and widening, right? We talk about this all the time. There's a reason why married men are significantly richer than single men. There's a reason for all of this, and you see it in real estate. So,
Yeah.
Bill, let's say there's a person out there who doesn't want to fall for this trap. Let's say there's a person out there who's heard what we have to say. They realize that this is their time to actually make a change and do something different. Where would they start? How would they contact you?
The best way to start is go to billgaylord.com and book a free consultation. And it is free. My goal, I've been doing this for 40 years in the real estate side, 33 years in mortgage, and 7 years in appraisal. I want to help people understand the benefits of home ownership. Know where you stand right now, whether you're ready to buy now, 6 months from now, a year from now, or never. You can understand the numbers, where you stand, what you need to do to get there. And I want to help you understand and become educated as to why I believe, and certainly Brandon believes, that home ownership is a great path to wealth, a great path long-term for retirement. It's a very good way to go, and just get educated.
Yep. And as always, I will help anybody at any time who genuinely wants to change their stars. Somebody said just in Nevada. No, Bill works all 50 states. Bill works all 50 states. So if you're in Nevada, Washington, Arizona, Oregon, North Dakota, South Dakota,
Tennessee,
Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Louisiana, no matter what state you're in, Bill can help you. And I can,
Question too
yeah,
from YouTube.
yeah. What's the question?
They said, "God bless you all." Question, it's off topic. How long does it take for PMI to go away on a mortgage? And then she says, "Money hungry corporations got to realize when their time is done."
Okay, pause on the YouTube. Let's finish here, and then we're gonna knock out questions. Okay, guys, we're gonna knock out all your questions. Let's just finish up for the YouTube audience. Maybe we'll do like an after show, like an extra little clip where we just do like question answering for people. But let's wrap this up.
That question was from YouTube.
No, what I mean is like let's wrap up the episode on just the Trump announcement, and then we'll do like a clip show for that, right? So if you guys need help, Bill works all 50 states. I can help you in all 50 states connect with a viable realtor in your state. So if you guys need help, all you have to do is reach out. There's a contact form in my bio. You can go to billgaylord.com and work with Bill directly. All of this is free. All you guys have to do is care enough. All you have to do is give a shit, and we are willing to help you guys. So Bill, as always, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Come and be my neighbor. All right.
This is
Clips.
YouTube's still going.
Yep. Clip show time. All right, so here we go. So let's start. Here's what we're going to do, guys. Bill and I are going to stay on, and we're going to answer your guys' questions. We're going to do a YouTube question, and then we're going to do an Instagram question, okay? So WMarg5, we see your question. WMarg5, Bill works California as well. So if you need help, fill it out, okay? So guys, we're going to answer your questions and YouTube questions. We're going to start with the YouTube's question. So here, let's go.
YouTube's does not much. She just wants to know when PMI goes away from her mortgage.
Bill?
So PMI,
Use that mic because that mic is connected to you. Those two mics.
Oh,
the
these
little
two
white
mics right
right
here.
there are on YouTube.
okay.
Yeah.
So PMI is based on 20% equity in your home. So let's say you bought it with 5% down and it's gone up another 15%. Let's say it appreciates 5% per year. And if it did that, then it would be like 3 years. Sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer. But I would check. You can call me. I've got what's called an AVM, an automated valuation system that I use to kind of give you a guide on that. Sometimes you'll see Zillow. Zillow's not very great, honestly, but I have my own AVM system that I can tell you, send you a report, show you what they're there. But typically, when you get to 20% equity, you're able to call the loan servicer, ask them what the process is to remove it, and they will tell you this is what we need.
Boom.
That's it. Mostly
Boom.
everyone's like, bye. Brandon is telling the truth. Torta hunting season it is. I have 2 rentals and I just bought and brought Tesla stocks. Just want to buy more now.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, smart.
Elon's going to be a trillionaire pretty soon.
Smart. Dude, think about Tesla. Okay. Think about Tesla, right? We know the one thing people, and by people, like let's be honest with ourselves, right? When we're selling convenience, we're selling it to majority a young female audience, right? Your daughter's here, right? What she would pay for convenience, like for instance, if you had a 16-year-old teenager and you said, "Hey, don't worry, you don't need to do the laundry anymore. The Tesla robot will do your laundry," right? You don't need to drive anymore. The robo taxi is going to pick you up and take you around, or hell, hire a robo driver. Right? I have a robot whose only job is to drive me. I never have to drive again. Now I can text in the car. Now I can scroll TikTok in the car, right? The one thing that we have shown people in America will buy is convenience. Okay?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well,
100%.
the better that I have Tesla Auto Drive. Do you know how convenient it is to just pop that thing in the middle of traffic and like be able to make a phone call and not worry about where I'm going, right? And this isn't even like this is the ground floor of the auto drive. We're not even in the, the peak of it. And wait till they have robo taxis and wait till they have Tesla robots. Like we're not even at the halfway point of this, right? But think about how many people when Tesla's stock dropped in March ran away, right? And I've always found it fascinating, Bill, that when it comes to money, the gap between money isn't smart and dumb. It's people who have the courage and belief, right? These things that we see these things, like when I use those words, you think of like Greek mythology, you think of like ancient heroes, courage, belief, these words, right? And it's crazy how throughout all of human history, these two words have defined the gap between rich and poor. Mm-hmm. Do you have the courage to throw 10 grand on Tesla as the stock price is dropping every day, right? Do you have the courage to buy a house when everyone around you is telling you that the market is bad, right? Do you have the courage and the belief in what you're doing, right? And what's crazy is all of us who have that courage and belief keep making money. And even when we tell other people, right, Bill, you know me, I was fucking dead ass poor. Dead poor. I'm no different than the people who watch us, right? No different than the people who watch us. And when I tell them that the secret is just having belief and courage, they look at me like I'm crazy.
Well, it's belief and courage, but I also think it's patience. So much of it, we talk about time in the market versus timing the market.
Yeah.
When you buy real estate, if you're trying to make money in 1 year, it isn't going to work.
True.
But if it's going to be a 7 to 10 year time period that you're in it, buy the house, don't even look at it. Who cares if it goes up or down? That's where people don't even, just have patience.
Yeah.
Is because it's going to happen. And that's kind of the thing. People tend to buy high and sell low because they freak out and they don't have the courage to hold. They don't have the patience to make it come back.
It's funny. Everybody's always good with hindsight, right? Everybody's always good at telling you what's going to happen in the football game after the game has ended, right? Everybody's a genius once the game has ended. But I look back on like the housing market crash in 2008, 2009, and I always tell people, why did you not sell? Like, why did you sell? Well, my house was only worth. It was like, okay, well then just don't sell it. Just keep, like, who cares? Who cares what they say your house is worth right now, right? Like, just don't sell it and just keep. Can you afford the mortgage payments? Well, yeah, but I'm underwater. Like, well, no, you could afford the mortgage when it was $800,000. Even if they say it's $500,000, can you still afford the payments? Yeah, then like, okay, keep holding on because by 2014, 2015, the housing prices had already returned to equal, if not higher than where they were already. Like,
I'll give you a perfect example. Our friend Felicia, she bought a property for $350,000. During the crash, it went down to $160,000. But she had a renter in there and it was paying the mortgage. And she could have given it back. She could have said, no, I'm done. She kept paying and paying and paying.
Yeah.
10 years later, she sold it for $75,000 more than what she paid for it.
Yeah.
And it just comes back. It's patience. It's time in the market. It's not being like, oh my gosh. But she could make the payment.
Yeah. Let me see if we have any questions. Hey, guys, Bill and I are sitting here on live because we want to be able to answer your guys' real estate questions, okay? Joyce, the queen of everything, she's a really nice lady. She messaged, hey, Joyce, I want you to know your messages do not go to waste. She messages me the most kind things ever. So, Joyce, we definitely want to answer your questions. You're a really nice person. Joyce says, what about ADUs on your own property? Joyce, I will tell you two things, okay, Joyce? The first thing I'm going to tell you is that if you're in California, what happened to that was weird. Joyce, if you're in California, the ADU thing is super valuable. Hold on, my screen's looking like wonky as hell. I don't know what's going on there. The ADU thing is really valuable in California, where there's such a dearth of housing that people will take anything, even if it means affordable. In Nevada, we have next gens where the ADU is attached to the property. So that's more of what we do here. But either way, the ADU thing to me is valuable. If you can provide temporary housing for nurses, traveling salesmen, whatever, anybody who's on like a 6 to 1 year job, I think ADUs and next gens are a great way to make some additional income.
And I would check out Picasa Homes, which does ADUs with Darcy Barajas.
They're blowing up.
Yep. Huge stuff.
They're happening too. They're detached casitas.
Detached casitas. Okay, look at that. Zelvensky, and let me know if I'm pronouncing your name right, sir. Zelvensky. Hi, Brandon. My wife and I are planning to move to Vegas from Canada in a couple months. How long do I need to work on my credit history to be able to buy a house with a decent interest rate? Zelvensky, guess what, brother? I'm about to give you the greatest gift possible by turning this camera around and letting my lender, Bill Gaylord, tell you exactly what to do. So, Mr. Zelensky, here you go. Bill.
Yes.
His question is this, okay? He and his wife are moving from Vegas to Canada in a couple months. How long does he need to work on his credit history to be able to buy a house with a decent interest rate?
Here in Las Vegas?
Here in Las Vegas.
So what we'll want to basically see what your status is, citizenship status is here in the United States. And many times credit is just a matter of, you may not really need some of the credit. It just depends on what your status is. So credit is important. What I would suggest is you go through the pre-approval process, find out what loan programs you qualify for now. If you need to improve some of your credit, it sounds like you may even have credit in the United States, or is it all in Canada? I don't know. So we'd have to take a look at that. But my suggestion, go through the pre-approval process, go to my website, billgaylord.com. We'll walk through and see what we can do to get you set up now. And if you're looking in 2 or 3 months, we'll get you set up and get you in the best program.
Zelvensky, hold on. Let me see if he's willing to go live with us. Zelvensky, are you willing to go live with us on camera so we can talk to you directly? I don't know if you're still here. It doesn't show me. On Instagram, I can't see who's still in the building. Zelvensky, are you still here so we can go live with you and ask you a few questions? Okay. Instagram, if you're just joining in, we are doing our real estate podcast on Thursday, and my lender and I sit on here and we try to answer as many of your guys' questions as we can. So, Zelvensky, if you're still here, let us know so we can help you directly. Does anybody else have a question before Bill gets out of here? He's got a long, busy day, and we don't want to keep him too long. So does anybody have a question before we get out of here? How many realtors would see, this is the thing, like how many realtors are willing to sit here, how many lenders, right, are willing to sit here every day and answer people's questions? I'm still here.
Digital capital, huh?
Zelvensky says, I'm still here, but I can't go live right now. Sorry, I will contact you guys later today. Zelvensky, I wish you would let me add you as a friend directly from the video, but it won't. So, Mr. Michael, send me a message or a DM on Instagram. I'll add you in here and we'll talk directly. Okay. WMark5 says, how can I lower my PMI when the value of our home has gone down on paper? Well, Mr. or Miss, let me see, W Mark 5, are you Marlon? Marlon, if the value of your home has gone down on paper, lowering your PMI is going to be, you're not going to be able to use
You're
your
not gonna be able to do it.
you can't use your equity because you don't have any equity currently, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, unless you want to use cash out of your own pocket.
Until it goes up, be patient because
Yeah.
it'll go up
Yeah,
over time.
the advice we have for you, W Mark 5, is look, if you have a significant amount of cash flow, I don't know your income, I don't know what what your cash flow looks like. If you have a significant amount of income, you can use money to try to adjust your rate. But the advice that we have for you is just to be patient, right? We obviously are in a strong buyer's market, so right now you're not going to be gaining a bunch of equity because this is a buyer's market. But be patient. The market always turns around. So is Pahrump a good place to buy at this point? I mean, I think so. It really Pahrump depends on the kind of person that you are. Okay, Pahrump depends on the kind of person that you are. You are 45 minutes outside of Vegas. So if you are someone okay with that length of a drive, Pahrump's great. There's a lot of new builds and new houses in Pahrump. You can get half acres pretty easily in Pahrump. I mean, that's great. There's very little to do in Pahrump in terms of entertainment. Okay, it is still a cowboy, wild, wild west town. It is a very small city, so it really depends. If you're interested in looking at houses in Pahrump, I can take care of that. EDTOIRACK. If you're interested in looking at a few properties in Pahrump, just send me a message or fill out the real estate form in my bio. I got you. Okay.
We just had a client move there about 4 months ago.
Yeah.
From Washington.
Yeah.
They absolutely love it.
Yeah.
They live out there. They just retired and they enjoy just being simple.
Yeah.
And if they need to go into Vegas, they go into Vegas.
Yeah. Marlon says we've made 100,000. This is the guy asking about PMI. He said he's made 100,000 in upgrades. Brother, you've added 100,000 in upgrades to your house. I hope that I mean, look, I hope you haven't upgraded past the value of your neighborhood, right? Marlon, if you want to get it revalued, you can pay for an appraisal on your property. Typically, how much is an appraisal nowadays? $600?
$650.
Yeah. So an appraisal is about $650. If you want to have somebody come out there and reappraise you, you can. Mimi's cotton candy. First off, that sounds delicious. Secondly, Mimi, she says, if you've upgraded and haven't reappraised, can you possibly drop PMI? Will my insurances go up? This is going to be a Bill question, Mimi. So we're going to turn the camera around to Bill. Actually, let me just turn the camera around. Okay. So Bill, I'm going to restate Mimi's question and I'm going to let you answer it more intelligently than I can. Bill, Mimi says, if you've upgraded and haven't reappraised, can you possibly drop PMI? Will my insurance go up?
So if you've upgraded, it may increase the value, but sometimes you can actually it may not go up as much as what you put into the house. It just depends on what the sales are showing in your neighborhood. So it could potentially help you. The appraiser will look at it as in really good condition versus maybe some comparables that are not as in good condition, but there will be an adjustment. It just hopefully will be enough to get you a higher value so that you can remove that PMI.
Boom. Another question asked. Okay. All right.
Last one from YouTube.
One last one from YouTube.
What new incentives are available for owning a home 2025 tax year? That's a Bill question, probably.
What new incentives?
Yeah.
There's all sorts of DPA programs out there that can help you get into a home.
Down payment assistance.
Down payment assistance. And it really is dependent upon your current situation. The thing that I really like that is kind of coming up here with the tax refunds is last year with the tax bill, there were no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on social security. So everybody will probably get a little bit more in regards to refund. Those monies could potentially be used to pay down debt to qualify or use as a down payment to qualify. So that's going to help. And then also, because of that, they will start to readjust the withholdings that they have in their paycheck. So hopefully they get even a little bit of a bump this year in their paycheck and it'll feel a little bit better.
Boom. Question answered. All right, back to Instagram. Zelvensky says, I've sent you a message in DM. Thank you in advance. Zelvensky, as soon as I get off here, I got you. BP Him says, Brandon, what do you think about rent to own? BP Him, do you want an honest answer or do you want a television answer? Yeah.
You're only going to give your honest answer.
No, look, nowadays, Bill, I ask people first. BP Him, do you want an honest answer on rent to own or do you want like the kindergarten version? You have to tell me you want an honest answer? BP Him. Rent to own is something they push on black people, minorities, and women because they don't know enough about real estate to make a smart decision. Okay? Rent to own is one of the worst ideas in the history of real estate. And the reason is this. In a rent to own contract, you have zero power and zero leverage, which means if at any point you break the contract with a late payment, they can cancel the contract. So imagine you're renting for 3 years with the hope of ownership. And because you made one late payment in the contract, the seller gets to decide, oh, okay, well, you broke the contract, I'm done. So you've spent 2 years saving up to own this house, but because the contract is completely in their favor, you're done. Here's another example. When you do rent to own, right? They get to set the number on what you're going to pay for the house. So let's say you agree to pay $300,000 for the house, but 2 years later, and we're in a buyer's market, and the house is only worth $260,000. Well, congratulations, buddy. Your contract says you agreed to pay $300,000. So even though the market is at $275,000, you're paying $300,000 because that's what you signed. Finally, when you agree to rent to own, let's say the interest rate is 5.8% like it is right now. But when you have the money to buy, the interest rate is 7%. Guess what, my friend? You're getting 7% instead of 5.8. The reason rent to own is so bad is because the entire contract is in the seller or the owner's favor. Renters have no power, none. Renters have no power, so no one's ever going to give you any. Rent to own is a trap. It's like student loans. It's designed to keep certain groups of people hoping, right? Rent to own is a trap because it makes you feel like you get to have your cake and eat it too. You get to have the safety net of renting with the hope of owning a home in the future. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too. Either you decide to stop renting, grow a pair of balls, and make a decision, or you keep being a renter and you get your comfortability. But you don't get to have this world where you get the comfort of rent with the hope of ownership. That's how they trap you in poverty, my friend. So that's the most honest answer on rent to own I could ever give you.
I want to give one more thing to that. You ready for this? So a lot of times they will say your rent will be applied to the down payment. That cannot happen. They will take a market rent and that will be used as your rental payment. Anything above market rent could potentially be used for down payment, but you cannot use your full rental payment as part of applying it to a down payment. It doesn't work that way in the mortgage world.
Bam. That's great. In fact, Bill, we're going to do a clip right now. I have a cool idea. It's going to be I'm so excited for this, Bill. I've had this idea stewing in my head called Ask a Rich Guy. And I just walk into the room and we just like do. And then I just ask you a question. Bill, why is rent to own terrible? And then you'll just drop something on them. And then I'll turn the camera like, on top of that, here's all the power and leverage that the seller, right? I think it's just a great clip to inform people. Like small things like that, right? Just little like 15 to 30-second clips. But if you title it real estate tip, and this is something we're going to teach in our class. If you title it real estate tips, no one's going to watch that. They've heard a million real estate tips. But if you title it like Ask a Rich Guy, boom. Okay, sick. Right? Now I'm intrigued. Now you're giving me something special, right? Or like there's this guy called Street Smarts where he just pulls up on people in Lamborghinis And he's like, hey, how did you earn this Lamborghini? Right? So you as the audience are looking at the Lamborghini. So you're like, I want to be like this guy. Right? All right. I just ate a pack of Flight Bites. Oh, see you next week, buddy. See you next week. Juan Sally said, you guys are amazing. Brother, we've been doing this for over a year and a half. Make sure you guys go to the Brandon from Vegas YouTube. All of our classes are recorded. We literally have freaking, I would say 105 hours of free real estate education. All you guys have to do is go to the Brandon from Vegas YouTube and watch it. We have been getting, seriously, we have over 105 hours of free real estate education. All you guys have to do is give a shit. That's it. You just have to care enough to go stop scrolling YouTube shorts. Stop. Seriously, guys, everything in your world is your fault. And that's the best compliment that I can give you, right? Because if everything is your fault, then you can fix everything, right?
Accountability.
Stop scrolling TikTok for an hour a day and spend an hour educating yourself on real estate. You have the choice of whether to scroll or educate. You make that decision every day.
TikTok live every Tuesday.
Oh yeah. We also go live. Oh, I can't say it on Instagram because they'll. Yeah. Are you able to? We're gonna start. I'm working on I'm trying to get Instagram and TikTok at the same time. Are you able to tell me the top 2 or 3 neighborhoods in the area for upper middle class families? Yes. That's what I specialize. Alex Abji, hold on. Alex Abji, are you here? Can you go live? Hold on. Let me see if he can go live. Hold on. Alex Abji, we are going to bring you into the live. Hold on. Alex Abji, are you here?
Oh, is it better for you to do?
Yeah, it allows me to flip the camera. Alex Abji, can you go live with us? Okay, perfect. Here we go. Alex, okay, brother, you are about to get the most comprehensive answer to your question ever, all right? So, you specifically stated upper middle class, so we're talking 600 to 900,000?
Yeah.
Okay, and is your number, do you have kids?
2 kids, 8 and 6.
Oh, brother. Let me save you time. So if you're between 8 and 6, what you're looking for is an area where you can put your kids in school from elementary to middle school and not have to move to find better schools, right?
Right.
Okay, easy peasy, brother. There are 3 areas, and I'm going to rank them in order from 3, 2 to 1. Number 3 is Inspirada. Your school for your kids is actually inside your neighborhood. So they can walk there. There's a bunch of kids that all walk there at the same time in the morning, or you can drive them there. It'll take you 30 seconds. I live in Inspirada. It's a great family neighborhood. When you get to high school, you may have to put them in a charter school because Inspirada is zoned for Liberty. And Liberty is not a bad high school, but it's more of a football high school, right? But your kids are 8 and 6, so you'll have plenty of time before you reach that point, right? Number 2 is going to be Summerlin. Summerlin, you're going to get less house for your money, but you're also going to get the highest equity in the entire city. Summerlin is the Beverly Hills of Las Vegas, right? So you'll pay more per square foot for Summerlin, but the schools in Summerlin are great. K through 12. You have access to some of the best private schools in the city. Bishop Gorman might be one of the best private schools in America. So, there's a lot going on in Summerlin. And then number 1 is an area that I call the box. It's an area, and I'll show you on a map when we get off live. It's an area from Green Valley Ranch to Green Valley South that has 10 out of 10 schools from kindergarten through high school. My niece, we put her in the box specifically for this reason. From Vanderbilt to Twitchell, you have 10 out of 10 elementary. Bob Miller is a 10 out of 10 middle school, and then Coronado is a 10 out of 10 high school. So whenever we have families moving to Vegas, we always show them the box because it allows your kids to go to great schools, and you never have to worry about the quality of the school changing. The box also has the most amenities per capita. So you have Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Sprouts, Target, Walmart, Whole Foods. All of that is within 5 minutes. You're 8 to 10 minutes from the airport and the Strip. I mean, it's basically like the best family area in Las Vegas.
Seriously, very helpful. I got Inspirado, Summerlin, and the box, aka Green Valley, etc. So
do me a favor when we send me, because I can't add you directly from this screen. Do me a favor and just send me a message on Instagram. What I'll do is I'll draw you a map of each 3 areas so that you can know exactly the areas that I'm talking about. And then if you have like an idea of what house you're looking for, I'll do a custom search for you so you can see the exact houses you're looking for in those areas.
Got it. I also may have additional questions. I'm going to jump off of this, but about investment, like investment rentals. What are the best areas, ROI, low value, but decent rent?
Brother, I'll send you an entire, I work with a lot of investors. I'll send you an entire sheet that separates each house in what we call list price per square foot compared to rental value, which means the cheapest houses with the highest rents in Las Vegas.
Yeah, no, I live in SoCal. I invest in like Nashville and like North Carolina a little bit, and so I'm always trying to expand.
Awesome. Yeah. Send me a DM, brother. I'll walk you through everything.
Have a great day, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Guys, you guys understand? Bill and I will literally sit here and help you guys for free all day. Mimi's cotton candy. If you need help, send me a DM. You guys don't understand.
Some cotton candy.
I have a contact form in my bio. You can literally contact me on my phone directly. You can DM me directly.
This is still on
you can call YouTube. Bill directly. Like, listen, me and Bill, dude, there are not many people willing to help other people for free throughout this whole process. Bill and I will literally help you for free, start to finish. We'll help you with your credit. We'll help you get financially prepared. We'll help you get approved. We'll help you find the best areas for you and your family. Bill and I form a super team who will walk you from start to finish the entire process for free. You are in control of your own destiny. You just have to choose a better life. People will help you on your path. You have to just choose. We got Grace over here. Let me put you guys on game, okay? We got Gracie over here. She just came back from Gracie, where they have you stationed?
Hawaii.
Gracie is doing military service in Hawaii. And now she's back in Vegas, and she chose to come hang out with us. She makes great decisions. Who wouldn't want to hang out with us? Grace, you want to go to lunch after this?
I don't know.
You don't know if you want to eat?
I can't.
You can't?
I can't.
Just kidding, Gracie.
I can't either.
Yeah, I got to rest.
Okay. I guess I made a bad offer, okay? But you guys.
I would anytime.
I'm no longer in Vegas. I had to relocate back to Minnesota. I was in Summerlin. I plan to relocate back. Painted by Kyle. Send me a DM. Let me help you, okay? Let me at least just send you a few areas that might work for you so we can make your transition back to Vegas easier. All you have to do is DM me, okay? Marlon, you're welcome for the advice. Marlon, contact Bill. Marlon, please. Helping you is going to be super easy. All you have to do is contact Bill. Seriously. Contact Bill. He will take care of it. He's great at his job.
1 second, too. Say bye to the live. There's still people here.
Bye, everybody.
On YouTube.
Bye, YouTube. Thank you guys for hanging and banging with us.
Let them know the episode drops this week, the full episode.
The full episode drops this week.
There you go.
Sorry.
Thanks, guys.